Ever since Groundhog Day, there have been a ton of movies and television shows that have taken on the idea of a main character who has to keep reliving the same day over and over again. We saw this with the Natasha Lyonne Netflix show Russian Doll, which is actually really pretty good, and you should definitely check it out. But we're actually going to talk about the sequel to last year's Happy Death Day to You, as Jessica Rothe and the entire cast from the first film return as Tree Gelbman has to once again relive the same day over and over again after she figures out why the time loops were happening in the first film in the first place. And this is one of the things that I really liked about the film, is that they actually try to explain why the time loop was happening to her. And it's great because the whole setup is very reminiscent of another classic sequel that I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen, and once you see the film, it's going to become especially apparent, especially considering the fact that they're making mention of it, which was one of the great things about the ending of the first film, where they actually name drop Groundhog Day. But the whole setup with Happy Death Day to You is great because it actually recontextualizes a lot of characters and situations from the first film, and it gives a lot more importance to some characters that may have just been on the periphery in the first film. And this is especially true of Carter's roommate, Ryan, who was the one who would keep interrupting them whenever Tree would wake up in Carter's dorm room. All of this is to say that the filmmakers did a really good job of taking the film in a direction that most of us probably wouldn't expect it to. And I think that's important because obviously you don't want to try and be doing the same gimmick over and over again and not really adding more to it. So this time around, it's actually up to Tree to kill herself to reset the day so that she can actually figure out how to get out of this new time loop that she's now finds herself in. And the other thing that you have to consider is that there are certain characters that are changed in this time loop, and I think that's really important to mention, but obviously I don't want to spoil too much. But it leads Tree in a lot of different directions that give a lot of work for Jessica Rothe to do as an actress, because there are some moments in this film that are intensely dramatic. And even though we're trying to have, you know, this screwball comedy, we're also trying to have a bit of a sci-fi element, and we also still have a killer to contend with in this new time loop that Tree finds herself in. It's no longer a situation where Tree has to figure out who's trying to kill her, because that's a non-issue this time around. And that's what's great about this film, because there's so much more for everybody to do, quite honestly. There's so much more for characters like Tree's sorority sister Danielle, and there's even more for Israel Broussard to do as Carter, who she fell in love with at the end of the first film. And just seeing how all of that evolves over the course of Happy Death Day to You is really engaging, and it definitely ends up creating a bit of a conflict for Tree when she realizes that there's almost a reason for not doing things the way she needs to get out of the loop as it is. And there's only so much I can obviously say about it, but trust me, this is a fun film. This is a film that doesn't take itself too seriously, but when it does decide to, actually makes for some great character moments in the film that really help to tie everything together, because there's so much insanity going on with certain characters, and there's obviously some great sight gags with Jessica Rothe as she realizes that, oh, I need to keep coming up with new and inventive ways to kill myself every day. And that obviously lends to a lot of the comedy in the film, which has always been the big hook even of the first film. So given how it ends and where things are going, I would definitely be on board for a third film. But even if it ended here, I would be perfectly happy because I think I definitely got what I wanted with it. And all I have to say is this is an absolute see it. Do not wait for cable, do not wait for streaming. Give it your money, show it your support, because I feel like even if you haven't seen the first film, there's a pretty good, like, in context recap of everything that happened in the first film that you could honestly go into Happy Death Day to You blind and not miss a beat. It's a really fun film that I think everybody should see. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. There's also a like button for you to hit if you would be so kind. And please feel free to share this video with your friends and family, co-workers, whatever what have you. And if you'd like to keep up to date on more At Random videos, you can do so by hitting the subscribe button right over here.